When the group reached their first camp, U Tau Yauk conveyed to Williams by hand signal that they would spend just one night there for the time being. During the monsoon, from about mid-May to October, it would become their home base. Chosen for its earthly and divine features, the little clearing was level, open, and said to hold no malignant spirits. About 20 men were erecting a set of jungle buildings, including a shrine to the good Nats. William's hut was raised up on stilts, topped with a thatched roof. There was a veranda in front, whose height had been calculated for loading elephants. A bamboo ladder would serve as a staircase. Inside, one large room contained an office, dining room, and bedroom. In the back was a small bathroom and a set of stairs for the servants to deliver meals. The sea of forest around the site was William's classroom. U Tau Yauk demonstrated for him some simple forest tricks. The teacher went over to a large shore tree and cut a notch. He then grabbed the bark, pulling it upward and out, so that an 80-foot line of it separated from the tree all the way to the top, like a narrow strip of wallpaper. Plaited together like jute, the material made harnesses for the elephants. Cutting a stalk of bamboo at the knuckle and tipping the short length to his mouth, the Burman showed Williams the hidden drinkable water that was all around them. As much as he loved the elephants he knew, Williams still used his jungle stalking skills to shoot a wild elephant in the name of science. Big game hunting and collecting were British passions in Burma. Williams didn't kill the animal for the tusks, though, but rather to conduct another necropsy, or animal autopsy, and to become versed in the biology of a healthy elephant. To hunt is to learn, he explained. Within a year, he would be speaking of killing elephants in a very different way. Each day began at dawn to avoid the highest temperatures. Forest assistants might have as many as 20 travelling elephants and a great number of campmen, so marching along they sounded like a gypsy caravan. The kalooks around the animals' necks rang out, empty kerosene cans clanked, and the men chatted. Williams, craving the quiet, made it his habit to leave early on his own. Hiking ahead of his men, Williams knew that even as a keen observer of nature, he didn't see half the animals who saw him. Tigers were plentiful, but not known as man-eaters in the area, so he walked with confidence. It would take several days to travel from logging camp to logging camp. His group would always start early and before lunch choose a clearing where they would spend the night. Williams would fill out paperwork, and when they eventually arrived at a site, he would meet with 10 to 30 men, examine the working elephants, and settle any matters that needed attention. Logging in Burma, Williams discovered, was strictly monitored by the British in the government's forest department. In the name of progress, they had adopted a German concept of scientific forestry in the mid-1800s. In essence, the philosophy was to balance regeneration with extraction in order to prevent the kind of deforestation that had taken place in India. A new generation of foresters was particularly proud to be part of a novel kind of conservation and stewardship of the forests. The problem was that the actual extent of tangible conservation was questionable. Teak forests could be cash cows for the empire, and forest managers were under pressure from senior government officials to chop down ever more trees. With increasing demand came increased production, from 63,000 tons of teak a year in the late 1800s to more than 500,000 tons annually in Williams' early years. The industry may have been hacking at an unprecedented pace, but all the while they promoted the perception that this was more responsible than indigenous practices would be. There were Burmese-owned timber companies too, but very few. Their harvest was dwarfed by that of the European firms. At the beginning of Billy Williams' career, the 5 big European outfits owned 3/4 of the teak extracted, while the Burmese share was less than 5%. Williams sometimes headed up into the forest with the logging crews. The men using